Went through all of NFL free agency with literally just one question lingering in my mind. What is going to be the fate of Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson? Clearly, there are going to be some types of moves made by both of their respective franchises, both the Seahawks and the Houston Texans, but there will also need to be insurance policies in place in the event one of those players do end up leaving their respective teams. And we actually got a bit of a clearer picture last week when we heard that Dak Prescott signed a huge contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys, and that essentially knocked off one of the teams that Russell Wilson had on his wish list if he was to be traded by the Seattle Seahawks. But to be honest, we all knew that was a little bit of a long shot. The odds that Russell Wilson would get traded to the Cowboys, in my opinion, from the moment he announced it, were slim to none. Meanwhile, you have two quarterbacks that are complaining about the same exact thing, which is a lack of input in personnel decisions and front office decisions. Although while Russell Wilson is complaining about the fact that he has no offensive line whatsoever and he really wants an upgrade to that offensive line and he wants a pass-heavy offensive scheme, Deshaun Watson is more frustrated with the fact that the Houston Texans tell him that his input and his opinion matters, but in reality, it doesn't really matter. They went behind his back, hired Nick Caserio. I don't think David Culley was his prime head coaching candidate either. And now you get what seems to be a bit of a stalemate between both Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks and Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. Now, before we get to this update, once again, I'm giving away a piece of autographed NFL memorabilia, whether it's a signed jersey or a signed autographed football from a player of your choice to a subscriber that turns on my notifications on this channel. All you have to do is hit that notification bell. Just let me know in the comment section down below what player you'd want a signed autographed jersey or football from. We're doing giveaways like this on my Instagram and Twitter as well, so if you want additional entries, I recommend follow me there. And now that we get all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? If you remember, in the very beginning, Russell Wilson came out and said that on his wish list of teams were the Dallas Cowboys, the Chicago Bears, the Las Vegas Raiders, and even the New Orleans Saints. And while a week ago we found out that the Dallas Cowboys were going to extend Dak Prescott to, well, it wasn't really much of a surprise to me that the Cowboys didn't try to trade for Russell Wilson. We found out additional information today about what the Chicago Bears are going to be doing moving forward in regards to their quarterback situation. Now, Ryan Pace, the general manager of the Chicago Bears, doesn't necessarily have the greatest track record when it comes to finding quarterback talent. As a matter of fact, if you want a quick and brief history lesson, ever since Ryan Pace became general manager, he signed Mike Glennon for $18 million for a year. He traded up in the 2017 NFL draft for Mitchell Trubisky, giving up multiple third-round picks so he could move up one spot to draft him number 2 overall over the likes of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. We actually have a video on what if Patrick Mahomes was drafted by the Chicago Bears. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure you guys are going to like that one. I'll leave a link to that in the end screen. After deciding prematurely, and in my opinion prematurely, that Mitchell Trubisky wasn't the answer moving forward, he decided to bring on Nick Foles, who was very suspect at best, and ultimately this year, the Chicago Bears were hoping to get their answer for the quarterback position. There were fantasies of players like Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson going to the team. As a matter of fact, probably my favorite picture to use of Russell Wilson whenever I'm discussing him is a jersey swap of him in a Chicago Bears jersey. And ultimately, it looks like the Chicago Bears officially got their man because according to my man, Adam Schefter, the Chicago Bears are signing former Dallas Cowboys QB to a 1-year, $10 million deal with another $3 million in incentives. If you're a Chicago Bears fan, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. As a Cowboy fan last year, watching Andy Dalton combined with Mike McCarthy wasn't necessarily a good time. He had a completion percentage of 65%, threw 14 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He threw for over 2,000 yards in 9 games. He wasn't remarkable, but he wasn't horrible. And I guess the foreshadowing of the Dallas Cowboys just being horrible on defense just really put Andy Dalton in a bad situation. Nevertheless, this isn't the big splash at QB that Chicago Bears fans were hoping for. Now, the question remains, what's going to happen to Mitchell Trubisky? Are they going to bring him back on a smaller contract, or are they going to let him go to a rival team? I find it really funny if he decided to sign with the San Francisco 49ers. It would be some poetic justice as to what went down in the 2017 NFL draft, a draft that I'm sure the Chicago Bears will be haunted for quite some time. I know what you guys might be thinking. Mike, what happened to Russell Wilson? What happened to the Chicago Bears literally being willing to give up their entire NFL draft to get Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson? Well, this is a very big update coming from Adam Schefter himself. And according to Adam Schefter, Chicago made an extremely aggressive pursuit of Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, per sources, and the Bears were told that Seattle is not trading him at this time. The Bears were one of 4 teams Wilson's agent named as a place of interest. Now Chicago has an agreement with Andy Dalton. So it looks like Russell Wilson officially won this game of chicken with the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to keep our eyes on what is going to come with Russell Wilson moving forward and any alterations the Seattle Seahawks are going to make to their offense, or if they're even going to get him some offensive line help. Now, in addition to this, we got some additional news in regards to the Houston Texans, and this one's a little bit more significant than people will give credit for. So we know the Deshaun Watson situation is nuts in Houston, and we've made plenty of videos on that. I could link you guys some of them at the end screen as well, but pretty much the entire scenario got to the point where Deshaun Watson said, hey, if you don't trade me, I'm holding out this entire season. And well, it looks like before the Houston Texans wouldn't even pick up the phone on Deshaun Watson trade offers, it appears as though now the Houston Texans are at least looking for a contingency plan, and they may have found one in the form of quarterback Tyrod Taylor. Because according to Adam Schefter, former Chargers QB Tyrod Taylor reached an agreement on a 1-year deal worth up to $12.5 million with the Houston Texans. Now, this is a very good move. At least they're very realistic about their situation. Yeah, it's not an ideal situation to be in by any means whatsoever, but the truth is there's a good chance, as a matter of fact, there's like a 90 to 100% chance that I see Deshaun Watson leaving Houston and forcing his way out via a trade. Even if he didn't want to force his way out via a trade, I believe it's in the Texans' best interest to trade Deshaun Watson, because the assets that the Texans would get back for Deshaun Watson would actually speed up their rebuilding process by 3 to 4 years. And I truly believe in that, especially if they hit on their draft picks. Let's be honest. Bill O'Brien took a team that could have been a consistent juggernaut and a consistent Super Bowl threat and completely dismantled it due to his own ego. And as a result of that, the Houston Texans are now in this situation where they gave up DeAndre Hopkins for next to nothing. They let Jadeveon Clowney just walk away and didn't even trade him for much value. They signed Laramie Tunsil to a huge contract, which is great, but that's pretty much all they have currently on the roster. They have a very good left tackle. They for some reason went after Mark Ingram this offseason as well. And the worst part is, despite sucking as much as they did, they gave up the number 3 overall pick in this year's NFL draft just because they felt like trading for Laramie Tunsil 2 years ago was worth 2 first-round picks. So I do believe this is a good choice for them, a very good decision for them to bring on Tyrod Taylor, and I do expect them to eventually work towards a Deshaun Watson trade. Now, where that trade's going to be to, who knows? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this info. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.